tax dollars that you will receive and that pays 30% of your solar system may be going away at the end of December. But I'm here to tell you about the Solar Sandy solution. Don't regret not going solar now. The Solar Sandy solution strives to achieve zero power bills, or very close to zero. And for over 10 years, my friend Solar Sandy has been helping Arizona families and getting them the federal and state tax credit that helps pay for it. When those bills go up, there's nobody helping you pay your increased power bills. So go to AskSolarSandy.com. That's AskSolarSandy.com and fill out her kilowatt worksheet today. That's AskSolarSandy.com.
My name is Mary Grace. Early diagnosis is key, but make no mistake, it is a devastating disease.
For more information, contact us at alz.org or through the 24/7 helpline at 800-272-3900, sponsored by the Alzheimer's Association.
The views and opinions expressed on the Verdant Exchange do not reflect those of Money Radio and do not constitute legal, medical, or financial advice. Welcome to the Verdant Exchange on Money Radio 1510 AM and 105.3 FM, your go-to source for cannabis culture, news, and conversation. Now, let's get into it.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the show. You're listening to the Verdant Exchange live on Money Radio 1510 AM and 105.3 FM. I'm your host, Michael Cassini. Today is Wednesday, August 20th, 2025. And as always, this broadcast is powered by Cannabis Cactus Magazine. No hype, just health, happiness, and cannabis. Every week, bringing you fresh perspectives from our culture, from our industry, from our consumers and advocates, and everything else that shapes the cannabis culture here in the good old United States of America. I have a very special guest. Excited about this episode and a little bit out of breath because we all just rushed into the studio last minute from the parking lot here. But we're going to talk today about social equity and the promise that legalization, has brought a promise of social equity along with it. Lawmakers told us legalization would repair some of the damage that's been caused by decades of prohibition. We want to give opportunities to the communities, the families, the individuals who have been disproportionately affected by cannabis arrests and convictions. On paper, this sounds like justice. This is a chance to give back to the very people who built this cannabis culture long before legalization. But in reality, many of these social equity programs have stalled or failed. Instead of empowering legacy growers, breeders, wholesalers, and the consumers that pioneered this industry, we've seen large corporate groups swoop in and acquire these licenses, dominating our legal market. And the irony is that the real innovations, I think, in cannabis, the heady hash, the live resins, the very culture and connoisseurship that we all enjoy, has not come from these boardrooms, but the so-called street market, the legacy market. So right here in Arizona is a perfect case study of this. When we passed our state legalization, we introduced a social equity program with 26 licenses meant to uplift these impacted communities. As of today, just one license remains in local hands. The other 25 are controlled by out-of-state corporations with no local ties to Arizona or the communities that these licenses were meant to serve. That one surviving license, it's independently owned right here in El Mirage, Arizona. And joining me today are the co-owners, family, Diana Pineda and Abel Ochoa. They're representing the true spirit of what social equity was supposed to be, and we are going to dig into their history, where they're going in the future, and I'm so glad to welcome them to the show today. Diana and Abel, thanks for joining me.
Hello. Thank you for having us.
So let's dive in with just a little history. Tell me about being born and raised in Arizona, and how did the idea for Deeply Rooted even come about?
Well, I'm born and raised in Arizona, the heart of the valley, which is the south side. The idea actually came hanging out with my cousin. We were, puffing on one of those, and he brought up the idea, and I was like, hey, you know what? I see his passion into the industry of how he went about that, and it was a go. I was like, let's do it.
Let's talk about some of your history, and Abel, maybe this is more for you, but being in the cannabis space previously, how were you introduced? What kind of experience do you guys have previously?
So back in 2017, I actually started off as a bud tender at Urban Greenhouse, which pretty much opened the eyes on, what I wanted to do as my career path, following that. So I moved up from a bud tender all the way up to their one of their leads, and then moved over to the cultivation. And then once I got to the cultivation, I fell in love with it, and I didn't want to do anything else. Just being able to be with the plants and everything like that. We ended up getting acquired by Harvest, ended up staying through that whole transition. And then after that, truly bottom out, that's when I kind of started realizing that corporate weed is not really for me. I felt every time I went into work, kind of made me feel a little like, I don't know if I want to do this
That's
anymore.
tough. Yeah,
You know.
everybody wants to live with purpose, right?
Exactly.
You want that part.
And that's kind of when I found out about the social equity program. And that's when I was growing. I was literally, from the very beginning to the very end stages of producing the cannabis. You know what I mean? I felt that this is an opportunity for me to try to take on and try to make something different, try to give back to the community, that something that's been kind of almost taken away a little bit. I mean, the community that, that built this foundation is kind of slimming away.
So let's go into, we don't have to go into every point of the application, but basically this is how you teamed up as family. You guys are first cousins, grew up in the restaurant business and selling food together. We're going to talk about some of the comparisons there, that, the same type of small family business. But Diana, that was your role in this, that you guys came together and were able to realize that you were certified for this application, had the right.
Yes. He started telling me all the requirements that were needed, and we happened to fall into
Said, hey,
them.
we check all of those boxes.
We checked all those boxes, and from there we just ran with it. We just went for it. Don't miss out on opportunities, and that was one we sure didn't want to miss out on.
So that's something we're going to talk about today, because you guys grew up in small business together. I want to shout out actually the restaurant. Tell us, a little bit about that and kind of just your history working together in small business.
Well, our family actually grew up, they started off with food trucks,
Yeah.
So her dad, my dad, they all, when they first came over here, they actually started off with El Taquito.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then as they expanded, as the years went on, they started expanding. So every family member ended up getting a restaurant,
Yeah.
and it started off from just a little taco cart, Now it's to a point where, our cousins have probably about 5 to 6
Six
restaurants. My other uncle has about 3. My dad still has his one, so it's still going to this day.
So tell me some of the things, because Diana, you said a couple quotes that really stuck with me about what's the same about operating a dispensary and the restaurant. What are some of the
Yeah,
things?
no, well, it's basically pretty much the same thing. It's just different sell. You have your customers, you always want to make sure your customers they're getting what they're there for. Like, you want to give them the experience, and all that experience we had as growing up, working in the restaurant industry, was very easily to apply it into our business now.
All right, so this is a good stopping point here. We're going to get into our first break, listen to some messages, and when we come back, more with Abel Ochoa, Diana Pineda, talk about how they started the one and only social equity license here in the state of Arizona. We'll be right back. You're listening to Money Radio, 1510 AM and 105.3 FM. This is the Verdant Exchange.
This is Ference, host of the Your Personal Bank Show. Your personal bank is a financial concept that allows you to grow your money insured with guarantees, income tax-free, and highly liquid. Also, you have the potential to continue to earn interest on money you invest in other assets, purchase items, or pay expenses. How can you do this? First, invest in a high cash value policy to earn dividends. If you leave money in the policy, it'll grow like any investment, insured with guarantees and tax-free. Second, we establish a bank line of credit using the cash in the policy as collateral. When you access funds, you receive them from the bank. Typically, dividends earned are higher than the interest charged by the bank. You keep the difference. This is known as positive arbitrage. If you want to earn interest on money you spent or invest elsewhere, contact me at yourpersonalbank.com. That's yourpersonalbank.com. Tune in to the Your Personal Bank Show Tuesdays at noon on Money Radio 1510
That way you
AM.
don't have to hold
Before
it.
placing a bet in Arizona, make sure you are using a
Then
regulated.
everybody should be able to hear us on Instagram. We were a little choppy there. all getting
/check your
started.
bet for a list of regulated operators in our state. Be
Yeah.
on the lookout for unregulated platforms offering risk-free betting, high bonuses, or only accepting cryptocurrency. If you suspect illegal gaming operations, report it to us at gaming.az.gov/check-your-bet. Together, we can keep gaming safe and fair. Double check before you place your bet at gaming.az.gov. This message is sponsored by the Arizona Department of Gaming.
We could tell you what it's like to drive the Nissan Rogue and tell you all about its performance capabilities, like its VC turbo engine, its impressive fuel economy. Still going. It's I can go virtually anywhere type of freedom. Nice. But you don't have to take our word for it. Go drive it for yourself. You're up. Experience the power of the Nissan Rogue.
Drive the Nissan Rogue. Now get 0% APR financing for 16 months on the 2025 Nissan Rogue. Visit your local Nissan store at nissanusa.com today.
For well-qualified buyers, excludes S-Trim. Example, 0 down payment, 60 months financing at $16.67 per month per thousand financed. Actual down payment may vary. Subject to Nissan Motor Acceptance Corporation credit approval. Not all buyers qualify. Dealer contribution may affect actual price set by dealer. Contact dealer for details. Ends 8/4/25.
Before you fly, take a trip to your local MVD office or authorized third-party provider with your required documents and get the new AZ Travel ID with the Gold Star for your new driver's license or ID. Starting May 2025, this new AZ Travel ID gets you through TSA security checkpoints. It's quick and easy. Think of it as your license to fly. Learn how to get your new ID at aztravelid.com. Sponsored by ADOT, partnership with the Arizona Broadcasters Association and this station.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the show. You're listening to the Verdant Exchange on Money Radio, 1510 AM and 105.3 FM. And today we are spotlighting a local cannabis story that's all about community and passion. Joining me are the co-owners of Deeply Rooted Dispensary, Abel Ochoa and Diana Pineda. Their shop has quickly become known, not just for quality cannabis, but for the sense of connection they built with their patients and customers alike. So today we're talking about that journey, what's setting Deeply Rooted apart, how they see Arizona cannabis industry growing in the coming years ahead. And welcome back, Diana and Abel.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So we're talking about how you guys started. Tell me about what day you opened the doors. You got approved for this application. What was the process to open a retail store?
It was a headache, man. I'll be honest. With all the with all the regulations that they had us do and all the loopholes that they're making us do to. We couldn't open up in certain areas of Arizona, so we had to look specifically for these cities that allow us to open, or just recreational only. And that's how we found El Mirage, And then with El Mirage, our initial building that we have right now was always the intent to open up, but with us having a deadline. With us having a deadline and stuff like that, it kind of made us have to make a quick little plan B kind of decision, and that's why we opened up the smaller shop. And it was because of we had only about 3 months before the deadline for us to have the shop open, and well back in June 26th, it was a Saturday. That's when we decided to open the small little shop after we kind of just got in.
About the deadline, I know there's when people win a license in a rural area, they're probably like the social equity license, they have some stipulations attached to them that you have to be operating in a certain part of town for the rural licenses to serve the underserved parts of the state. For the social equity license, what was that deadline? How much time did you have for winning the applications? You got to have doors open.
18 months.
18 months. And now you're going to realize how quick that goes by the way you're smiling.
The fact that you had to, find a location, You had to make sure it was compliant, make sure the landlord was actually able to allow cannabis on there.
Right.
And the biggest hurdle was just, trying to find a location that made sense.
Right.
Because everything that we found just, it was too far off. It was either hidden or the population wasn't there.
So you're to go ahead and speak to that for a moment. You've done an excellent job, and that's a tough thing to do. You don't want to be trapped in an industrial part of town where your traffic is semi trucks and things being loaded and unloaded. You want to be in a retail part of town. You're kind of off the main drag as you enter El Mirage. You're coming down Grand Avenue. You hit the light at Thunderbird, and before you do, a block or two away, the sign is already beautiful. Right there on the corner. Welcome to the west side of El Mirage. So that's not easy to do, and that location became available, and just at the right time.
Well, the thing that happened was I ran into a guy that was in the industry that actually helped Ogden's open.
Serendipity. Okay,
And
then
that kind of helped me out because and it was just more of a conversation kind of thing that I just wanted to ask some questions, and that's when he came up with hey, like I have this location if you're interested.
So yeah, and shout out Walgreens, your neighbors over there on the west side, but in Sun City. Tell me about the demographic out there, because I'll tell you things I've seen visiting. I've seen golf carts going from the McDonald's drive-through to the dispensary.
Yes.
I mean, so these guys are refilling their coffee. I don't think they're even playing golf. They're refilling their coffee, come out of the McDonald's drive-through and head right to the dispensary.
Yes.
Gonna pick up some pre-rolls, maybe they're gonna hit the golf course, maybe they're going back home.
It's a big retirement center.
It is.
Okay.
And that's with the group of those people always having a fixed income for the most part, that's one of the things that we definitely want to make sure we understand. Because the thing is we want to make sure that we bring in these good brands, quality brands, but also prices that these guys can afford to actually try and smoke. And that was one of the biggest things that trying to have our vendors understand is that not every area is the same because you have different demographics.
You said that, and I hope the vendors are taking your advice on that best they can. I know they don't have a lot of wiggle room. But let's talk about how you stock your shelves, because Diana, there's a couple quotes we have in the article. If you guys haven't read this, cannabiscactus.com. This is our cover story this month, featuring one and only social equity license here in Arizona. But talking about what set you guys apart. I'm noticing you said, hey, we carry all the big brands. We love to carry and support a lot of smaller and boutique brands as best we can. But what you're doing across the board is you're curating that. And Diana, you made the comment to me that, number one, we're not here to sell on THC percentage, which is already you're taking a big stand there. But secondly, if we wouldn't smoke it, we're not going to put it on the shelves. Tell me about how you choose products and kind of how that decision's made.
Yeah, we make sure that whatever's going on our shelves is something we would smoke. Like we don't want to sell something that's just cheap or like that you wouldn't buy. We want everybody to be satisfied with the products that they're leaving our shops with.
And so part of that is the local community is going to respond to how you educate them on these products. Is that kind of I feel like the part you stress is the customer experience in the dispensary.
Most definitely.
How are you training yourself to
we tell our staff, ask questions. Why are they there? Basically, everybody's goes there for different reasons. And they're searching for something that works for them, and everybody's not the same. What works for me might not work for you.
So asking questions about why you're using cannabis is obviously the way to open that conversation. That's a great recommendation. For your associates, bartenders and stuff.
And it's just to a point to ask, what are we trying to use it for? What are you trying to accomplish? What's your experience that you're trying to achieve? And that's one of the things that, by us actually just connecting with our customers and understanding, what they're trying to do. Yeah. Instead of just trying to, sell a THC percentage or, this is testing at 32%. Because if that's the case, well, why aren't distillate pens our top of the line things if you're looking at if you're looking at percentages?
And it's funny you said that. So I didn't really have any other segments planned today, but I've been thinking about kind of how we evolve as consumers and how we always come back to flower. And I'm like, I don't know if it's years of trying every kind of cannabis, dabs, vapes, gummies. But my pattern is that, no matter what I try and enjoy, I've always got to have some good fresh flour. Now, flour doesn't last as long on the shelf. It's the one thing you do have to always buy fresh. When you find something you like, you can't stock up for the next year. You want to always have what's mostly fresh available. But I'm just kind of looking at how this all fits in. What are the healthiest choices? What are people really going after, and what are people enjoying most? Is that flour experience I'm having the same in the community? Do most people come back to that, or are they branching out and now just they're edible users, they're vape users? What are the trends that you see?
So one of the things that I noticed, flower users are always going to be flower users. Their concentrate users are most likely always going to be concentrate users. Yes, they'll dabble in between different things, but depending on their tolerance is going to determine on what they're going to really try to use. Because people that are on concentrate, like flower isn't really.
Well, that's a good point. Medicinally, especially when you need extended pain relief, when you need something, yeah. It's that part. So.
And it comes down to also the tolerance of a lot of people. After a certain amount of use, you build a tolerance towards things.
Correct.
And that's the reason why we are very adamant on, educating our consumers to, try different things. Because if you get the same thing over and over, by the end of the month, you're going to be like, I want something different.
Right.
Education does play a big role.
Well, absolutely. Understanding what you're putting in your body. And so that's why, like you said, that asking customers questions. I mean,
but even just having them understand what they're buying, because most of the time you have fancy words to, try to distinguish it as a premium product when you actually just look at the raw ingredients and you're just like, it is what it is.
I want to give you another compliment from shopping at your location. When I walked in, I was greeted with a welcome and how are you doing? Nobody asked me if I was an express order or an online order. Seems like a lot of dispensaries, and I don't know if they realize that's a negative. You don't want to start with the customer that way, like, oh, you didn't check in online, already kind of making them feel negative for walking in.
Yes.
It's good that you touch up on that, because I've actually had an experience on the reason why we're very, very heavy on doing that.
Hello, welcome in. How can I help you today? Not, did you place your online order? No, I'm just walking in.
But at any other retail shop, like, you want to be able to fill in and feel comfortable going in there.
Right, you don't greet me at the taco shop that way.
Exactly.
You didn't place your order online?
Exactly.
No, I don't know if I'm past order or Cardi.
And then now that puts you almost in defense. Where you're just like, all right, now I'm just here to sleep. Let me get my order and get out.
So I learned that in the restaurant industry when I was like a host and then a waiter. But the number one question is, you don't just say only one. When someone comes in solo, you don't turn that into a negative. Oh, just one today? I'm sorry, you couldn't find anyone to dine with today?
Yeah, and that's the thing. It's just making the customer feel welcome.
Yeah.
And that alone opens them up, because you never know. They might have had a bad day, and that one interaction that they had with you.
Well, people, if they're coming into your shop, if they're coming into a restaurant, they're hungry. If they're coming into a cannabis shop, they're likely in some kind of pain or would like relief from something, mentally, physically, combination. So I've had to remind myself of all the things that we're all dealing with. Your physical body, but also, your mental state goes a lot longer. You've lost loved ones. You've gone through different traumatic things in your life. You're grieving. And in that space, I see a lot of understanding, for people and how they use cannabis. So it doesn't mean we all sit around the couch and, smoke till you run out of it. Not the kind of lifestyle that we're promoting here in our industry, on this radio show. So, folks, we are talking here with Abel and Diana, co-owners of Looted Dispensary in El Mirage, Arizona. I want to encourage you to visit them on the corner of Thunderbird and is it West Grand Avenue? How would I say that? Northwest Grand Avenue. Right there, you'll see the sign on the corner as you drive into Sunny Mirage. We're going to go to a quick break here, and when we come back, we're going to continue this conversation. Very blessed to have this group today, representing the one and only social equity license here in the state of Arizona. Listening to the Verdant Exchange live on Money Radio. I'm your host, Michael Cassini. We'll be right back after these messages. Okay, good job.
I don't know.
Okay, now we're getting relaxed. Now I can just take this where we want to go. I'll bring up a couple small news stories and
Being in control of your
Yeah,
money provides
I think we're
freedom.
dialed in
Learn how
now.
to make it, spend it, and invest it. We're
Yep,
Money Radio.
I don't hear any feedback like we did at the very
5.3
beginning.
FM.
This is the Fox Business Report. A choppy trading session with the major averages ending mixed as a tech sell-off extends into a second day and as investors digested earnings from major retailers while awaiting a key meeting of central bankers later this week in Jackson Hole, Wyoming. Tech was the worst performing sector while energy and healthcare gained. All of the Magnificent Seven tech stocks finished lower. Shares of Target tumbled 6%. The big box retailer posted stronger than expected second quarter earnings, but delivered another quarter of falling sales and also announced that its chief operating officer, Michael Fidelki, will succeed CEO Brian Cornell in February. The Dow winners, Caterpillar, McDonald's, and Travelers. The Dow decliners, Apple, Amazon, and Home Depot.
Oh my God.
16 points. The Nasdaq lower by 142. S&P 500
It's
down
usually everybody's
16.
first time here in the
Fox
studio.
Business
So a
Report.
lot to get
I'm
used
Hillary
to,
Barsky.
but we're going to keep making
Invested
it
in
easy
you.
on people every week, as easy as we can. You know.
Need life insurance but
I
have
don't
diabetes, high blood pressure, or
To
on
be
anxiety?
relaxed.
Yeah,
Old
okay.
male, even Porky, or with type 2 diabetes, $1 million
And then
of life
you don't have to
insurance
stay
may only
completely
cost you
still, but
about
don't touch the phone or
$200 a
anything because
month.
all the
For
noise is coming
affordable
from
okay,
term life
gotcha, gotcha,
insurance,
gotcha.
call
Like,
a
I
term
got heard
provider and
nonstop.
speak with Big Lou at
Abel's like, I can hear a pin drop over here. It's
800-444-2013,
silent.
800-444-2013,
Oh,
or
look, I'm
visit
not trying to touch you.
biglou.com.
And maybe
Remember,
hers is
Big
just more
Lou's like
sensitive.
you.
I'm like, I
He's
can hear
on
when your
meds
lips
too.
touch.
800
Oh no, you know what? Then if it
2013.
I'm just
vibrates, it
joking.
might freaking because I heard it too, like zzz, the
Yeah, it was
Sarah
this
vibration.
thing
Coe,
shaking.
host of the
Oh.
Your
Going
Personal
through your
Bank Show.
microphone.
I use
Should
common
I
sense as a
take
Just don't touch
entrepreneur,
anything.
financial literacy
Sound.
educator, and speaker to
Don't
understand
touch.
how current events affect our
Okay,
money,
we have 2 minutes, guys. We're
and our
having a lot of
freedom.
fun. If you're watching
Grow
on
your money
Instagram,
insured with
or watching
guarantees,
live
tax-free, and highly liquid with your personal bank.
It's
Tune
the
in to the
Verdant
Your Personal Bank
Exchange,
Show,
the extension of
Tuesdays at
Cannabis
noon
Cactus
or
Magazine.
Saturdays at
It's
1,
available
or
every
contact
week.
parents at
We're here at 1 p.m. on
yourpersonalbank.com.
Wednesdays.
The Your Personal
And then
Bank
live on
Show,
Money
Tuesdays at
Radio,
noon or
following
Saturdays at 1.
Bloomberg Market
To all my
News. The
friends in
market starts at 1
Arizona,
o'clock,
you don't
and it
need
cuts
Gary
straight to us
Carbaum to
talking
tell you
cannabis.
that
So
your power
what
costs
a
are
great
going up
prime time slot
astronomically
that we're
year
happy to
after year.
represent here.
Last year,
For
APS
our
had a
community,
huge rate
and we'll be
increase,
back
which
in like
impacted so
a
many
minute and 40
families.
seconds.
This year, it's SRP's
Right, I
turn.
agree with
There is a
about
good
it.
chance that the federal solar tax credit, your hard-earned federal tax dollars that you will receive and that pays 30% of your solar system may be
Yep.
going away
I'm
at the
listening.
end of
And your
December.
friends and
I'm
family
here
are
to tell
watching you.
you
You're
about
saying
the
hello.
Solar
You're
Sandy
like,
solution.
sisters,
Don't regret not going solar now. The Solar
you
Sandy
probably
solution
know.
strives to achieve zero power
Yeah,
bills,
it's definitely
very
been
close to
a
zero. And for over
Yeah.
10 years, my
Let's
friends,
do that
Solar
next.
Sandy
That's
has
what
been
we'll talk
helping
about.
Arizona
Press
families
coming
and
in
getting them the
good and
federal
Tell
state
me.
tax credit that helps pay for it. When those bills go up, there's nobody helping you pay your increased power bills. So go to AskSolarSandy.com. That's AskSolarSandy.com and fill out her kilowatt worksheet today. That's AskSolarSandy.com.
So the parties used to were cutting commercial breaks, things that you don't have control over.
to
Right.
school.
Learning the production, and James has been a huge help with that. Okay, 20 seconds.
If you're having a hard time living with all the noise, it's even harder to live without it. One fake fentanyl pill could cost your child their life. Learn how to talk to your kids at talknowaz.com. This message is sponsored by Substance Awareness Coalition Leaders of Arizona.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Verdant Exchange live on Money Radio. This is your Cannabis News Hour, powered by Cannabis Cactus Magazine. And today we have special guests in the studio representing the one and only social equity license here in the state of Arizona, are the co-owners of Deeply Rooted Dispensary in El Mirage, Diana Pineda and Abel Ochoa. Thanks for sticking around, guys.
Thank you for having us.
So yeah, I feel like I've got the exclusive on this one. I don't know if I'm the first to tell your story or not. This may not be your first time on the radio. But I want to tell you how thrilled we are at Cannabis Cactus to tell this story for several reasons. We already were supporting you as friends of the magazine and friends of the show and working together without having any idea that you were a social equity license. I just understood that you were a family-owned operation, like a few others that support our magazine. And what a fun coincidence. It seems to be those independent, smaller shops that really care about the community that have driven us for 8 years. And our event friends like Canaland and everybody who's part of our network. You guys are the backbone of what we do as well. So, yeah, but knowing now that you're the only social equity license in the state, can I have you reflect on that journey, Abel, like you were doing during the break? And hold on for the listeners, please. But yeah, reflect on what this means to you guys and where we're going.
No, I mean the journey has just been it's been a battle, but I wouldn't change it for anything.
Yeah.
You know, I definitely feel that's what's made us and made us stronger to continue with what we're trying to accomplish here.
Mhm.
And from everybody doubting us, from everybody telling us you're not going to be able to do it.
I can imagine from some of your closest people, and that's how it was when I started the magazine. So these aren't strangers telling me that, but well, hey, no, this is tough. This is not easy what you're doing.
And the people that you expect to support you,
To champion you.
When you figure out that they don't, you're just like, wow.
Mhm.
You know, it's a
So we've all been through that. That's a part of being an adult in the business world, right?
Mhm.
That's not specific to cannabis.
But when you really want something, you're gonna go out and get it.
Mhm.
You know, because we started this with zero money in our pocket.
Mhm.
I emptied out my bank account just to pay for the applications. And for everybody that I spoke just in the industry alone that I sat down and talked to, everybody was saying that it's gonna be hard getting a location, it's gonna be, you're gonna need $1 million just to start your
Millions without.
dispensary,
Right.
plus your cultivation build out and everything like that. We got to a point where everything that they said we've done,
Conquered it.
and right now I could honestly say we're not in debt with nobody.
Well, can I say right now
That's the
on
best part.
Money Radio, I mean, getting to the heart of the matter, which is finance. I mean, that's the bottom line in all of these adventures. And I guarantee since the day you opened the door, you've been rich in adventure. You've been rich in the
Definitely,
patients that are coming in, enriching your life, the staff that you get to interact with, and now you're pouring back into your community. You're putting dinner on the table, for every one of your workers. Those things are going to carry you through life no matter what happens in the next 3 to 5 years. But your doors are still open. So from the day you opened to now, where are we? Have we hit the 2-year anniversary? Where are you at?
We actually have hit the 2-year anniversary.
Okay, I was just absolutely guessing on that, but that's right where we are.
Yep.
Diana,
on the 26th of June.
Okay,
was 2
beautiful.
years.
Tell me what you're doing now that you've gotten to know Diana 2 years in the El Mirage community. What kind of events, what kind of things are you bringing on the side that you guys are going to continue doing to support?
Yes, we're gonna continue doing the last Fridays. It's something we started, something similar like the first Fridays, but we're doing the last Fridays. We're gonna be having an event September 27th. It would be the last. It's not confirmed. We're working on it. I'm working it. But we started doing that and love just bringing the community together. All vendors out there.
Yeah, when I came out there,
celebrating with us.
well, the thing I noticed about it was really cool was you guys are, set up for this so perfectly. So on the corner of Northwest Grand and Thunderbird, you guys sit in a cul-de-sac right there. So you not only have your property, but you almost have all this extra that's nobody comes back there unless they're coming to you. So when we came out, there was all tents set up, tacos going, music going. No matter how small or big that gets, that's invaluable, I think, for just your customers, your community, and everybody. So,
Well, that's something that we definitely want to bring up for our community. Is it's being able to give something back to the community and having to do something just on in El Mirage.
right.
Because every event that you have going on, they're not really hitting that side of town.
Mhm. Well, not at all. And when you label it as a retirement community, you instantly, there's less marketing out there as if they're smoking any less cannabis than the rest of the age group.
And that's the thing, though.
They might be smoking more.
There's not really a characteristic of what a smoker is.
Right. No, I
Smoking
agree.
comes in all different types of forms.
So we've always known that, whether you're a lawyer, an attorney, you come from a professional background, whether you're an athlete, whatever you are, the stigma has always been of burnouts and that you go to Grateful Dead concerts, but that's such a small part of that counterculture community. And you guys are representing like your background and how you were raised, like I am. So I want to stick up for that we come in such a spectrum.
I want to give back. They received us so wow, and that just shows. And we want to show them that we appreciate being there.
Well, you're getting a lot of comments in the live chat right now. If you're watching us on YouTube, we have different camera angles going, and you can also catch this episode on playback on the Money Radio Station on CannabisCactus.com. If you're watching us right now on Instagram, thanks for joining us. And then those of you out there in the radio world, we're so blessed to have this hour where we can lift you guys up as business owners and kind of bring this into the mainstream. whether you're connecting with, like Chamber of Commerce style, you have access to people that print, to people that do signs, to people that do plumbing, electricity. We want all these business owners to be brought together, but we want you to be included in that as cannabis, and that's part of the mission here. If you're listening on Money Radio, that we bring these business owners into our network through the Chamber of Commerce, like you probably are members of out there in El Mirage. If not, there's an idea for you of how to link up with other business owners so that we can support each other. I think you'll be surprised with how much people want to help you and to see you succeed. So we want to give them the chance to do that. So there's my PSA. If you're listening on the radio, today we're supporting Deeply Rooted Dispensary. They're found in El Mirage on the corner of Thunderbird and Northwest Grand Avenue. And they're open every day from 10 to 10. Let's talk about that. What's your busiest time of day and how's that schedule kind of look out there?
So usually it's after we get a little slam in the beginning of the day.
I was gonna
the
say
first 2
yes,
hours because we
the
have
first
like a
hour.
Because
happy
people are
hour.
waiting to come in and wait for you to
Yeah.
open.
We also have a happy hour.
Oh, nice.
The first
Okay.
2 hours of every day, we have a happy hour, which is 25% off, and then the last 2 hours of the day, same thing.
Tonight. Yeah.
Come on now. So we're starting at 10 o'clock. From 10 to 12, we're on happy hour. Diana, what's the main feature of a happy hour? What do people enjoy?
Well, they enjoy that. They can still go in there and be able to get a discount on items that are not on sale for the day. Or
What's the number? Let's run down. Is it pre-rolls? What is number one at this point? Would you
So-
just hypothetically?
Flour is going to be your number
Flour.
one seller. And then quickly, right underneath that is going to be your vapes, at least in
That's
our
gonna be my
store.
guess. Okay.
just because of convenience of them.
Mhm.
Then concentrates, then pre-rolls, and then edibles.
Okay, so that sounds pretty standard from the AZ market report from the BDSA analytics, but there is going to be obviously from town to town some things that are different. Are there any brands that are being well recognized, either from your customers or that you guys just love?
We do have a couple brands. You know,
Yeah.
there's some brands that we've probably carried that I'm still smoking to this day. You know what I mean?
Yep, yeah.
You're always gonna have your top guys. You know, you guys are
Clean, consistent. Who's most recognizable on the shelves right now?
right now for
Mhm.
us. It's gonna be drip. You're gonna have it connected.
That's
And
that's
those
some
are
of the
ca-
best. Well, it's always had the reputation of some of the best flower in the state through the True Med. They've always been very quiet, very independent, but still very consistent. So
Now,
more
there's-
superior product, not a lot of marketing. Other side of that would be a Jeter.
Yeah.
Now there's other brands that are smaller guys. You know, like your Cannabis, your Elevate.
Okay, shout out. Yeah.
Those are the guys that actually, if you're looking for some good quality flower.
So we love those groups as well, and what they're trying to do here in the state. Elevate's trying to bring in a lot of new genetics. They have a passion for bringing in affordable genetics, but hitting on some minor cannabinoids and some projects we can't speak to. Some of these other groups where we know some of the genetics that are flowing in from the right places to try and not just bring new candy strains, but bring some new medicinal strains and hope that customers will respond to that. How do the social equity licenses work? Are they medical and rec or one or the other?
Just
rec.
rec.
Just rec, okay. So let's speak to then how difficult that must be if you had a medical only license. How tough is that?
Well, honestly, it would actually open up doors a little bit more because, well,
It would have been faster, the process for sure.
Mhm.
that's
Some-
not just that, but also, I mean, it still has its challenges.
Right.
But the thing is just finding a location, because that would allow us to
Yeah,
actually
that.
be in Phoenix, to be in.
Okay, so there's some leniency on the medical side, but just to speak to that, if you can only be one or the other, I mean, rec still opens up the whole world to you. If you had a medical only dispensary, your business model would essentially be to try and sign people up for medical cards.
But here's also the
right there in the dispensary.
There's also the thing, what's the number of that's going down? It's been decreased.
It's cut in half. We'll talk about more, a little bit about that here to kind of wrap up the show. But we just want to stay positive as well. But we've looked at not only the number of workers in the state that was almost at 20,000, now around 10,000 or so. But our medical patients were at one time over 200,000 people and climbing. Might have made 250, 300. I don't know if that's less than 100,000 now or actually where that number's at, but we know that's decreased a lot. Now, as people that are passionate about cannabis, I know that's tough for us all to hear because we know that this is medicine. We got it. This wasn't just a way to creep into legalization. It's what we really believe. That there's so many therapeutic values, that it's not a healing magic button, but that it enriches people's lives, can be used responsibly, and doesn't obviously have any of the responsibility of deaths that we've seen from alcohol that's all around us every day and in our ballparks and advertised to us on every corner. So when we come back, cannabis advertising, how we can support deeply rooted dispensary in El Mirage, Arizona. This is Arizona's only social equity license, and we're here to support them. And you're listening to us live on Money Radio, 1510 AM and 105.3 FM. This is the Verdant Exchange, and I'm your host, Michael Cassini. Be right back after these messages.
And this is the Fox Business Report.
Yeah, it's like medical's
Trading
dead,
session
huh?
with the major averages
But you
ending
don't hear
mixed
about
as
it
the
anymore.
tech sell-off extends into a second day, and as investors digested earnings from major retailers while awaiting a key meeting of central bankers later this week in Jackson Hole, Wyoming. Tech was the worst performing sector, while energy and healthcare gained. All of the Magnificent Seven tech stocks lower. Shares of Target tumbled 6%. Products retailer posted stronger than expected second quarter earnings, but delivered another quarter of falling sales, and also announced that its chief operating officer, Michael Fidelki, will succeed CEO Brian Cornell in February. The Dow winners, Caterpillar, McDonald's, and Travelers. The Dow decliners, Apple, Amazon, and Home Depot. The Dow up 16 points, the Nasdaq lower by 142, S&P 500 down.
You're just eating that, yeah.
Your Fox Business
still give them
Report.
a
I'm
discount,
Hillary
like, you know.
Barsky, invested in you.
There's times when if you're looking for a bowl,
Need life insurance but have
diabetes.
diabetes, high blood
You
pressure, or
can't.
anxiety
It
meds?
doesn't
You're a 50-year-old male, eating
level out.
quirky, with type 2 diabetes. $1 million of life insurance may only cost you about $200 a month. For affordable term life insurance, call Term Provider and speak with Big Lou at 800-444-2013. 800-444-2013 or
Do
visit
you pre-record or it's all live
Remember,
only?
Big Lou's
No,
like
it's live. Yeah, everything
but
that's
beds
pre-recorded
too.
is happening while it's live, and then can be posted later,
800-444-2013.
like clips and things. But no,
This
this
is
episode
Ferentz,
will
host
now
of the
be
Your
on
Personal
YouTube.
Bank Show. Your
This
Personal Bank is
Instagram
a
Live will be
financial
posted,
concept that
and-
allows you to
and
grow
then the
your money
radio's
in
just out
short
there in
with
Radio
guarantees, income
Radio
tax-free,
Land.
and
Well, I
highly
guess it gets
liquid.
archived on the
So you have the
websites, yeah, on
potential to continue to
cannabiscactus.com.
earn interest
That's
on
where
money
the
you
passive
invest in
links
other
are.
assets, purchase items,
Mhm.
or
So
pay
yeah, kind of
expenses.
hitting it as many places
Do
as we
this.
can.
First, invest in a high cash value
And then we can
policy
put
to
it
earn
out. We can
dividends.
package it for
If you leave
Spotify
money
and
in the
Apple
policy, it'll
and
grow like
everywhere else
any
podcasts
investment,
are.
insured with
Because this
guarantees,
is all interesting.
tax-free. Second, we establish a
Education
bank
and-
line of credit using the cash in the
That's the goal
policy
for the
as
show.
collateral. When you access funds, you receive them from the
That's you
bank.
guys'
Typically,
viewers
dividends
ratings
earned are
started.
higher than
Oh
the
yeah,
interest
yeah. Now we're
charged by the
have
bank.
people watching on
You keep the
Instagram, making
difference.
comments.
This is known as positive arbitrage. If
And
you
then
want to
people will
earn
watch it
interest
later
on
on the
money you
website,
spent
you know,
or
so.
invest elsewhere,
Yeah, it's
contact me
taken
at
this long to get
yourpersonalbank.com.
everyone to
That's
know.
yourpersonalbank.com.
Yeah,
Tune in
people
to the
get
Your
used to you
Personal
being
Bank
there.
Show
You just gotta do it
Tuesdays at noon
consistent.
on Money Radio
And there's
1510
like natural
AM.
too.
To all my friends in
Thank you.
Arizona,
It's
you
all
don't need Gary
nerve-wracking
Carpom
for me.
to
But
tell
you're
you
more
that your power
comfortable.
costs are
I
going
had to
up
learn to write in the
astronomically
magazine.
year after
Yeah.
year.
Repetitively.
You have to
PS had
remember
a
how many
huge
times I've
rate
already went out and
increase,
just-
which
I know,
impacted
that's what I'm saying.
many
Like, you know,
families.
yeah.
This year, it's
I wouldn't say repetitive,
SRP's
but it's
turn.
like
There is a
learning
good
to
chance that the federal solar
Yeah,
tax credit,
facts.
your hard-earned federal tax
And if
dollars
it's
that
like
you will
this, I can
receive
get
and
you on.
that
I felt
pays
bad the whole time
30%
I'm
of your
putting
solar
Diana
system
on.
may be going away
Yeah,
at
do
the
it,
end
Will.
of
April's the one
December. But I'm here to
talking.
tell you about the Solar Sandy solution.
He talks even more during the
Not
break. So you
going
gotta get him
solar
to
now.
talk,
The
to speak
Solar
over
Sandy
you.
solution
Well, it's 'cause I just don't
strives to
wanna cut
achieve
everybody
zero
off.
power
you're
bills,
right.
or very close to zero. And for over 10 years, my friend Solar Sandy has been helping
No, Diana's a
Arizona
little bit more
families
shy, and I
and
know
getting
she's-
them the
Yeah.
federal
Okay, I don't know
tax
what I
credit
gotta
that
say.
helps pay for it.
All right,
When those
15
bills
seconds.
go up, there's nobody helping you pay your increased power bills. So go to AskSolarSandy.com. That's AskSolarSandy.com and fill out her kilowatt worksheet today. That's AskSolarSandy.com.
Welcome back to the Verdant Exchange live on Money Radio. We're broadcasting on 1510 AM and 105.3 FM. You're watching the show on YouTube or CannabisCactus.com or Instagram. Thank you for tuning in today. We're joined by co-owners Abel Ochoa and Diana Pineda of the Deeply Rooted Dispensary right here in El Mirage, Arizona. They serve their community as the only social equity license granted here in the state of Arizona that wasn't gobbled up by the other corporate entities. They are completely family run, operated, owned from the ground up, folks. So